We got Sunavalon Therion for you guys. Many other Therion lists. This deck just continues to be a dominating powerhouse out here. And of course, some other interesting rogue decks. Don't be like the 33.8% of you guys and not smash leave a crap out of that subscribe and smash it so we can get to 102,000. OCG Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, in full swing here. The first we're going to be looking at here is Sunavalon Therions. Now, this is technically a one-card starter to allow you the chance to basically capitalize and play the game. And I think it's actually kind of cool because, I mean, how much of this deck actually gives two craps about their normal summon? Here's a hint. This is your normal summon. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, one copy of Effect Veiler, triple copies of Maxi, one copy of the Bullseye, two copies of King Regulix, one copy of Leaper Fom. We have triple copies of Borea. Remember, this does have the plant side interaction here, so you can beam this out and basically equip whatever that you need to it. We also have one Griffin Rider, two Aqua Enchantress, triple copies of the Sunsea Genius Loki, two copies of Called by the Grave, one Crossout Designator, one Dracoback, one Faithful Adventure, triple copies of the Perpetual Argeo Engine System, triple copies of Pot of Prosperity, two copies of Rite of Armesier, one copy of Sunvine Sowing, two copies of the Coliseum Saucer, two copies of Infinite Permanence, one Thurion's Cross, and one Vanity's Emptiness. Down here in the extra deck, we have two copies of Sunvine Thrasher, one Healer, one Malias, two copies of Dryas, with one copy of the Dryades, with one Verte, one Link Spider, one copy of Begalancer, one Jasmine, one Dragobalong with the Hope Harbinger and the OTK Machine himself, number 100. Then we have one Psychic and Punisher here. Side deck, we have two copies of Drone Lockbird, one Effect Veiler, triple Nibiru, one Token Collector, two Twin Twisters, two Anti-Spell Fragrance, two evenly matched, one Infinite Permanence, and one copy of Red Reboot here. Wrapping up our first Therions list. Our second Therions list here. Yeah, this is a little bit of an interesting splash with a sub-Predaplant engine built into the deck, all because, you know, this good card actually exists. So basically, Instant Fusion kind of makes the world go round if you actually end up getting the chance to see it mid-game. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, one copy of Ghost Ball in the Haunted Mansion, one copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, one copy of Jet Synchron, two copies of Lone Fire Blossom, triple Maxi, one frickin' Neturia Rose Whip. Holy moly, we're going old school here. We have one Blips, one Darling Cobra, one Orthoscorpia, then we have one Bullseye, one Duke Jewel, triple copies of Regulux, one copy of Leaper Fom, and triple copies of Borea, because, you know, these are all plant monsters that you all just kind of get to step on out here for free. I love interactions. We have two copies of Called by the Grave, one copy of Crossout Designator, one Instant Fusion, triple copies of Argeo System, two copies of Pod Desiases, one Ready Fusion, one copy of the Thurion's Charge, triple copies of the Thurion's Ring Saucer. Then we have two Infinite Permanents and one copy of the Thurion's Cross. Then we have one copy of the Thurbological Dermigia. We have one Almirage, one Aerodon, one Hulk, one Cross Sheep, one Jasmine, one Sub-Zero Trishula, one Psychic and Punisher, one Formula, one Cupid Pitch, one Borrowed Savage, one Baron de Fleur, one Thunder Dragon Colossus, one Theseus, and one copy of our little Predaplant interactor here. Then we have one Pankratops, two Droll, one Ghost Mourner, triple Dark Ruin No More, one Feather Duster, one Lightning Storm, two Twin Twisters, one Anti-Spell Fragrance, two Evenly Matched, and one copy of Imperial Order here, wrapping up our other Therions list. As we move on along here, we got some Buster Blader Albaz for you guys. Now, I know how much Buster Blader is. It's kind of a fan-favorite deck, even though it doesn't see as much play as it did in the very early stages of its lifespan here. Buster Blader is just one of those cool cards that you kind of just look at and you go, that's my boy. That's the deck that I enjoy playing. So we actually are playing this with a little bit of a splash of Albaz here to kind of streamline some better synchro monsters, in my opinion. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, triple copies of Buster Blader, triple copies of the Buster Whelp, And then, of course, we have one Diabolus, one copy of Ecclesia, one Fleur-de-Lis, 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz, 1 Ghost Bell, 1 Hoppier Squadron. We have triple copies of Lilith, Lady Laminate, triple copies of Maxi, triple copies of Branded Fusion, 2 copies of Called by the Grave. Of course, we have 1 Crossout Designator, triple copies of Fusion Deployment, 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, 1 Nadir's Servant, 2 copies of the Destruction Sword Memories. Then we have 1 Dogmatica Encounter, 2 copies of Infinite Permanence, and triple copies of Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman here. And then we have, down here in the extract, we have 1 Verte Anaconda, 1 copy Link Rebo, 1 Senshin, 1 Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, 2 Buster Dragons, the 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 Titanclad, the 1 Dragos Depelia, 1 Mirjade, 1 Lubellion, 2 little Buster Bladers, then we have 1 Albion, and 1 Abyssal Dragon, Albia Renatus. Side deck here we have 2 Drolls, 2 Nibiru's, 2 Token Collectors, 2 Lightning Storms, 2 Super Poly, 1 Twin Twister, 1 Anti-Spell, 2 Evenly Matched, and 1 copy of Red Reboot here, wrapping up a little bit different of an approach for playing Albaz decks, but nonetheless, this is very interesting to me. Next up here is Marincess. Now, I give this deck a lot of hype. I think that this deck is a very scary meta contender. The problem is it takes a very good player to kind of pick up this deck and really know what they're doing with it. And if you're somebody out here that thinks you're going to get some free chicken tendies by playing this deck, I don't agree with that statement at all. So, it has a very high skill curve. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, triple copies of Effect Veiler, 2 copies of Ghost Ball in the Haunted Mansion, 1 Mourner. We have triple copies of Blue Tang, triple copies of Pascalis, triple copies of Seahorse, 1 Sleepy Maiden, triple copies of Spring Girl. Then we have triple copies of Maxi, 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, 1 Battle Ocean, 2 copies of Dive, 2 copies of Potted Azizes, 1 Prosperity, 1 Imperial Order, triple copies of Infinite Permanence, 1 Wave, and 1 copy of Vandy's Emptiness here, wrapping up the main deck. Down here in the extract, we have the Transcode Splash Mage Interactions. We have 2 copies of Sea Angel, 1 copy of Marbled Rock, 1 Bubble Reef, 1 copy of the Coral Triangle, 2 copies of Coral Anemone, 2 copies of Blue Slugoo, 1 Agua Argonaut, 1 copy of Access Machine, 1 Totally Awesome, and 1 copy of Bahamut Shark here. Side deck here we have 1 Alpha, the Master of Beast, 2 Drone Lockbird, triple copies of Nibiru, 2 copies of Token Collector, 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Lightning Storm, 2 copies of Twin Twisters, and triple copies of Dimensional Barrier here. Wrapping up a pretty interesting chunk of things that kind of mess with the meta for 500. I really do like Marincess. I would really give this deck a shot if you want something to kind of mess around with, and overall I think have a good time with. And the last as we have for you guys here is Adignister. Yay! Big turbo deck! Don't you guys love the fact that you just can play this big Link 6 here, produce a boss monster, and have your opponent go, oh, crap, I can't beat that. That's what it feels like to chew 5 gum when playing this deck. So we have triple copies of Achichi, Adignister, triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 copy of Barururu, 1 copy of Damari, 1 copy of Doshin, then we have 1 copy of Doyan, triple copies of Effect Veiler, 1 copy of Gachikiri Adignister, triple copies of Maxi, we have 1 Nibiru, triple copies of Pikari, we have 1 copy of Eye Contact, triple copies of I Meet You, 1 copy of Idol Reborn, 2 copies of Call by the Grave, 1 Crossout Designator, triple copies of Signet Mining, 1 Fighting Spirit, 2 copies of Droplet, we have 2 copies of Ignister Island, triple Infinite Permanence, and 1 Vanity's Emptiness. Down in the extract, we have 2 copies of Transcode Talker, 1 The Arrival at Ignister, 2 copies of Splash Mage, 1 Link Spider with 1 Firewall, then we have 1 copy Heat Soul, 1 Dark Templar, 2 copies of Dark Infant, 1 Cyberswit Kid, 1 Access Machine, 1 Light Dragon, and 1 Wind Pegasus. Side deck here we have 1 Pinkertops, triple Droll and Lockbird, 1 Nibiru, 1 Dark Roll No More, triple copies of Lightning Storm, 2 copies of Compulse, triple copies of Evenly Matched, and 1 copy of Red Reboot here. Wrapping up a pretty interesting slot of things for the meta for the OCG. So guys, what do you think? Please, leave a comment down below what you guys think. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys some more awesome content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.